Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me an opportunity to also make my contribution. Mr. Speaker, I will not belabor the point that honorable senators have raised before the floor on the dangers that are posed to our young people who engage in cigarettes smoking. Most of us who are parents, who have nieces, neighbors, young children, we know that it's almost becoming the in thing, Mr. Speaker, for any young adult, not even a young adult, even those who have not attained the age of 18, to think that it's very cool to engage in cigarette smoking. And these cigarettes are all over, available in many of the outlets. So, Mr. Speaker, this motion is very timely because as a country, we need to respond to a crisis that we are facing. When I project, Mr. Speaker, 100 or 50 years, when maybe some of us will no longer be in this world, I don't know what kind of generation we are going to leave behind. It's a crisis that should worry all of us. Our grandparents, our parents used to care about how they hand over to the next generation. But it seems for us, we are a country that is in a crisis. That's why, Mr. Speaker, we need to look deeply into this motion and see what interventions the government can put in place. It's good to adopt maybe best practices from the West, but they have also come with a cost to us. When we were in school, Mr. Speaker, we had very strict rules. You knew that there are some things if you did, you will get serious caning from teachers. And I'm sure people like Senator Galwale may have been caned once or twice. Because teachers were not joking. They were serious. They wanted to mold generations for the future. But now we have come with another freedom where our young people can question teachers. Our young people don't have the respect we had for teachers. In my days, Mr. Speaker, if I'm walking and a teacher is approaching, I stop, I freeze. The teacher passes before I pass. If a teacher says there is no smoking in school, you need business. And the consequences were serious. If you are caught, it could begin with a suspension, then it ends with an expulsion. So we really must urge the government to come with new policies in our schools where those who are caught can also face serious consequences. But I also feel that, Mr. Speaker, our principals, our teachers are not doing enough to raise awareness. In our days in 1984-85, when we had the outbreak of HIV/AIDS, Mr. Speaker, there was a lot of effort from our teachers to educate us about what AIDS was all about, the risk. My principal, the late Alex Chacha, was so graphic, Mr. Speaker. He said, young boys, if you joke, the word he used is, if you put it, you get it. You get it, you are dead. And it sank in. And I remember that the MOH was brought to school to teach us about the symptoms of AIDS. And it was so scary. So before you tune a lady, you used to remember what you were told by the MOH. What are the symptoms? Those days they used to say you will go within 6 months. But I don't think currently we have these kind of programs in our schools where we invite people to come, talk to our young kids. And if we want to make it cool, let's go to a situation where we even take our young kids to workshops. And we get their peers who can talk to them about the dangers of these things. Because this is something worth an investment from our government. I am told, I'm lucky, Mr. Speaker, because I've never been a smoker myself, but I'm told that if you put intervention early enough, you can save some of these kids. Mr. Speaker, why can't we have a budget by the government? If Kalwale is a doctor, will tell us. I'm told there are some substances. If you are given, you are in smoking, it could help you in quitting. So that, Mr. Speaker, some of these young people, before they get into full addiction, the government can set aside money where they get treatment at the expense of the government, so that we assist them. But, Mr. Speaker, I'm even worried of a serious problem. The problem of hard drugs. And when we passed our Constitution 2010, we committed a few mistakes. One of them, Mr. Speaker, is what we put in chapter 4 of our Constitution, that every offense is bailable. You get somebody today offering drugs to young people, even if it's a 12-year-old, he goes to court, he's charged, tomorrow he's free. He goes back to the market to sell the substance to more children. In countries like China, if you are caught with the drugs, Mr. Speaker, you can be sure that that is the end of your freedom till your case is heard and determined. And I think we need to revisit. Every country in the world, you do an audit of your constitution and you see where you went wrong, where it's not serving you well, you look at it. If I got a chance to Speaker, this is one area, even if it should be the only one, where we make it very clear in our constitution that anybody caught offering drugs to young people and you are charged in a court of law, you should not be granted bail. So that we reduce the number of people roaming here, out here, offering drugs to our children, Mr. Speaker. I don't know why we fear amending the Constitution. The Americans, Mr. Speaker, it took 2 years after 1787 for them to relook at the Constitution and propose amendments. The Bill of Rights was not in the American Constitution when it was enacted in 1787. By the first 5 years, they had amended 10 articles out of the first proposal of 7 articles. I know you say the Bill of Rights, for you to deny a Kenyan, you need to go to a referendum. But why do we fear referendums? If we are doing it in the best interest of our children, Mr. Speaker. Just the other day I was watching news, the French, to kick out bicycles from Paris, they went into a referendum. And the people voted and made a decision. In Australia, they are going to have a referendum in November on an issue that touches on the right of the Aborigines. It's a normal thing. Ever since they enacted their constitution in 1900, the Australians have had 44 referendums. Out of these 44, only 8 have gone through. The rest have been rejected. I really want to urge us as leaders to one time have a conversation. If this issue of drugs has reached the levels it has reached, it's causing a crisis to our youths. Let us revisit our Constitution 2010, and if it needs us to amend the Constitution to deny those who are selling narcotics and other drugs to our young people, we do it. They are cashiers. They are cashiers. In Kenya here, they used to go to court today, next week they are free. In America, the moment they left this country, they have never seen freedom to date. And that's how you deal with hard drugs. It's not a matter to joke with, Mr. Speaker. That's why many countries take it seriously. I want to urge my colleagues, honorable senators, let us have a serious conversation. We elevate the motion that has been brought here by Senator Catherine Muma to a holistic approach where we look at not only e-cigarettes, but also the dangers that young people are facing from this addiction of not only e-cigarettes, but also the issue of hard drugs. So I support this motion, Mr. Speaker, and I hope that we'll really elevate this to another level so that we can save our future generation. With those remarks, Mr. Speaker, I fully support. Thank you.
Senator Wambua.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to also add my voice to this all-important motion by our colleague, Senator